pizza stores, lots of different, like Ankara style cheese pizza, Ankara style pepperoni pizza. But when I use this kind of an approach, like the abstract factory that I described, like I have a Ankara pizza factory or Beijing pizza factory, I'm sort of repeating the same thing, same mistake. I mean this one. I have the pizza store. I have this abstract pizza, and I have all these different pizza types, all depending on this one, and this one is using the pizza store. Now what I said is that I have, for example, Ankara Pizza Factory and Beijing Pizza Factory, and they both become responsible for creating all the other types of pizzas. But it is still sort of difficult to handle because there are many types of pizzas. So now what I'm going to do, as I said, instead of creating the pizza from the outside, what I'm going to do is individual factories will be responsible for the dough, individual factories will be responsible for the sauce and the toppings. Okay. So what happens is, I have a new one, Cairo, ABC, you see? So in Ankara it is maybe frozen clams, but it is calamari in Cairo, and it is frozen clams again in Beijing. It is thick crust dough, very thin crust, or thin crust dough, so different in every location. So all of them are different, like the sauce is different, the cheese is different, the toppings are different, the dough is different. So I have this different in all of them. So, well, what I'm going back is, let's create factories, not pizza factory, but let's have a dough factory, let's have an ingredient factory, like let's have a sauce factory instead. So what I have here, I have a pizza ingredient factory, which is an interface, which is abstract factory. And this one is implementing create dough, create sauce, create cheese, all of them individually. So all of them are responsible for creation of one object. This one is creating a dough, this one is sauce, and this one is cheese, and this one is creating the toppings in here. I want to move to, so okay, this is what I had in the beginning, and this is what I'm now having. I changed it a little bit. I changed this to abstract because preparation is different from one factory to the other. And I added more details, like instead of toppings, I said vegetables, cheese, pepperoni, and clams. It became more specialized. And in here, like when I have a cheese pizza, I'm going to be taking a pizza ingredient factory depending on which pizza store I'm in, Beijing, Cairo, or Ankara. This is going to change, and depending on this change, I will be having my dough, my sauce, and my cheese. From depending on the factory, I will be creating a cheese pizza. So the cheese pizza has a cheese, it says sauce, it has dough. That is correct. But which dough, which sauce, which cheese will be depending on the factory that I'm supplying. Same with the clam. I know that there's going to be an addition, which is going to be the clam. So I know now that clam pizza has to have a clam in all these different pizza stores. But which type of clam will be determined by the type of pizza ingredient factory. So what happens is, when I have an Ankara pizza store, which is a type of pizza store in abstract class, so when I'm creating a pizza, I will be getting my ingredient factory. This is going to be an Ankara pizza ingredient factory because I'm in Ankara. And depending on the type, you know, what I asked to be created, I will have a cheese pizza. So cheese pizza is the same. Like there is only one cheese pizza object class, but the contents of the cheese pizza will be different depending on the ingredient factory that I'm supplying it to. Just like this. I have an ingredient factory. I have different ingredient factories, individual ingredient factories for all of them. And I have different interfaces, dough, sauce, and cheese. And each ingredient factory is having its own version of dough, sauce, and cheese. If it is Beijing, I have these. If it is Ankara, I have these. So, you know, if I wasn't using this, I had to be handling all of it with ifs and elses. Of course, it is okay if I'm going to be creating this in only one place in my application. But if I'm doing this over and over again, this is going to be, you know, making another object responsible for that, the creation of the pizza object. It is going to be more clean code. It's more going to be, you know, understandable, easy to maintain, and add things and remove things. So that is the idea behind the factory. So what I'm doing is I'm taking out all the complexity, and with the abstract factory, what I do is I am a little bit organizing that complexity, the creation complexity. Like depending on, I can make it even more complicated if it requires to be complicated. If it is already being complicated, that is why I'm trying to handle that. You know, this is why I do this. This is very complicated because I have to be able to handle it. The complication already in the domain. So this is basically, that's all. Well, I didn't do this with, like, you know, I didn't use the Eclipse this time and try to do it together with you because this is, I don't know, I find this simple. This is very simple. I mean, abstract factory or factory, in any case, these are simple. The idea is very simple. Like this is something that we are using it all the time. We're doing it all the time. But for the factory, for the abstract factory, what we do is we do it for the creation of objects, because it is only programming that is what we're doing. This is object-oriented programming. This is what we do. But the only difference is that this is creating some objects. There is another important design pattern responsible for creating objects. That is a builder design pattern. We will come to that probably in the next, or maybe the one after that. But for today, that is it. So, is this okay, or was it understandable?
Yes.
I think this is one of the very simple ones. It's just moving things around. I mean, there is no big deal. It may be a lot of talking that I had to make, but it wasn't really complicated. I think the decorator is nice. I like it because it is, you know, things referring itself to itself. So it is, do you know Kierkegaard?
What?
Ever? What? Kierkegaard.
Sounds like a Nazi doctor.
No, no, he's not a Nazi doctor. He has a famous quotation about. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Yes, this is his famous quotation. Can you see it? The self is a relation which relates itself to its own self, or it is that in the relation that the relation relates itself to its own self, the self is not the relation, but that the relation relates itself to its own self. So that is what Kierkegaard. This is here he is explaining the decorator way back in 1700s or so. I don't know. I forgot. But for many years, many philosophers thought that this is a joke. This is really. They said, well, this really is a joke. I mean, he was trying to make a joke, so this is why he wrote it this way. But now people, I think, starting with Heidegger, people don't think that it's a joke. It is very serious business. I like this one. So self is a relation which relates itself to its own self. So how about that? Okay, thank you. We can turn it off with this philosophy.